Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting video. Today we are taking a look at a hydrophone, but not this one, mine, that kind of works. Let's check it out. So these are by Laza Kamikaze, and he did this for the STW servers, but I was talking to him and I said, hey, can you help me? Can I use your dial? And he did both. He helped me and he let me use his dial. But these are excellent. So what these do is they actually use the sonars. Well, I'm not in the water, so I can't actually show you right here. But these use sonar, and they have I think a range of 5,000 meters. Now, when we were playing our live events, unfortunately, the thing we ran into is there are tons of Stormworks boxes spawning everywhere. And so we were unable to really use this because we'd have to stop and get the box, and stop and get the box, and stop and get the box. And so it didn't make the sub hunt too fun, and also the limited range. And after reading about U-boats, these hydrophones can actually reach up to 20 kilometers or more, I guess in the right conditions. So 5,000, not so great. So what I decided to do, after of course asking Laza Kamikaze, I like that name now, it's fun to say, if I could use this dial, I started to build a new one that uses antennas. Well, actually, let me show you something. Alright, so this is my test bed. Ignore this. This was an older test. It's going to drive us crazy beeping. But this is where we started. And where we started was Eggnog suggested maybe we can make a hydrophone using broadcast signals as signal strength in order to determine where a submarine was or a ship. So I started off by finding this in the workshop, which is a radio finder. I found 3 of them, one by Pony and one by a couple other guys, which I will link in the description if you want to check them out. And what they do is use 3 to 4 antennas to triangulate the position of a radio signal. Now, if you look up there, that thing is blinking like crazy. There's another one blinking probably a little bit crazier over there. And what I was doing was trying to break transmission so that it would go to the next radio signal. Because what this does is it kind of locks on to the first radio signal it finds in Stormworks, I guess. And so in order to go to the next one and check where its position was, I would have to go ahead and break the signal. Now this is something I might try again later, having learned quite a bit from that version over there. But, for right now, it didn't work. I got frustrated, and so I rethought the whole idea, which is where this one comes from. But let's load a working version. Alright, so here is the working version. I have a lot of debug screens, and of course I've deleted that old version. And I'm just going to walk you through kind of how it works for the event. So we have the master chip, and we have the slave chip over there. And the slave chip goes on every vehicle in the event. Of course, the master only goes on ships or subs that are using the hydrophone. Alright, so far, so good. Let's jump into the editor and I'll show you the client or slave chip. So we're in the editor, and the slave chip requires an antenna to be hooked up to it and a GPS. Once you have it hooked up and put on your boat, you're going to want to select a frequency that it's going to use. So right now I have 1 to 10. Okay, so we'll just select 10, doesn't matter. And then the type of vehicle. This is mostly just to broadcast a signature. So let's say we pick a destroyer. And so our ship is set to frequency 10, and the type of vehicle is a destroyer. Okay, not super important over here. This is just on your ship. Okay, also, let us go down over here so we can see this. So if we come down here to the chip, we'll see that it has some inputs and outputs. And we're going to want an antenna. We're going to want a GPS. Oh, put that there. Whatever. Is that all it needs? Does it need the... I don't think it needs... Yeah, it doesn't need the compass. So this is just going to be broadcasting the GPS. So when we hook it up, we just hook our signal strength. We hook our send the frequency. We hook our transmit on. And we hook up our GPS X and our Y. Oops, actually I was backwards. So swap that. Okay, cool. Send out our data, and this thing is ready to go on the ship. All right, cool. Okay, let's come over here, and on your master chip, you're going to want you're going to want a compass. That's right here, the GPS. I also got some help from Sky to help me with the GPS coordinate system. So thank you very much, Sky. That helped a lot. And a huge antenna, so you can get the most, 20 kilometers range on trying to find a ship. All right, and that is it. Oh, you're also going to want to click on the chip, and set your hydrophone frequency to the same as your vessel. So let's just say this is a 5. All right, and that is it. So let's go ahead and spawn a submarine, and I'll show you how it works in person. So here is our event submarine. Now for testing, I have a little blinker on here to show that it's actually transmitting. And we have the GPS, the antenna, and the chip. The chip is set to vessel 2 and it's set to submarine 3. And we come over here and it is set to vessel 2, should be. And that means that we will not detect ourselves, because if we didn't set that, we would detect ourselves. Now we go ahead and spawn it. All right, there's our submarine. The pink is the lighting that I'm working on. But out here, I have a beacon. See it? Over there? Way over there? That little tiny beacon? That is pretending to be a ship. And what's interesting about that thing is it's pretending like it's going, I think, like 15 knots or something like that. I don't know. But I set it to something. So if we jump into the submarine, ta-da! All right, we have our hydrophone here. And you're going to see some cool stuff here. Here's our ship ID. This is something that's not quite done with the graphics, but this is our timer. It's a 60-second timer, and it will go around, in 60 seconds. And that's important because I was watching a U-boat video, and they were talking about how they could it wasn't really proven, but there's some logs that show that some U-boat commanders logged in that their hydrophone operators could count the rotations or the RPMs of the ship that they were listening to and kind of make an educated guess how fast it was going by counting the revolutions in 10 seconds and stuff, and then timesing it by 4 point something or other. I don't remember what it was. But what I did for mine is this goes around in 60 seconds, and it's set so that when the speed of the contact comes in, it beeps, and if you count those beeps within the 60 seconds, you will find out the speed of the contact, roughly, because who knows what kind of ping I'm getting on these in multiplayer. This is kind of a side effect. You're going to see it blink in a minute about the changing of the frequencies to scan. So I couldn't get this to stop. Like, whatever's happening, I'm doing something wrong in some order, and it's blinking these things, thinking that it finds a contact, and then it says, oh no, I didn't find a contact. So kind of a side effect. I guess it kind of looks cool. Looks like it's doing something. I don't know. But yeah. So let's look at the interface. We have, of course, a timer. We have turn our prop rotation speaker on so we hear the beeps of the engine. This is a signature. This will tell us when we have a clear audio signal of the prop. And then we have our ship ID. We have our bearing of the contact. We have our left and right scan. We have our paging for our ships. There's our different ships. And there's a signal. I think I'm going to change that white color. It kind of bugs me. But yeah, let's go back to the front there. This is going to be changed. I was doing something where I was doing a gain function, so I could go gain up. And basically what that did was extend the scan range. So you would scan from like here to here if the gain was all the way up. But what I decided to do instead was use the speed of the contact. So now the scan range is based on the speed of the contact. If the contact is going fast, then you're going to get a wider search range, so you'll be able to pick up that contact. If it's going slow, of course, you're only going to be able to hear it there. I thought that was better than using the gain. It felt like it was cheating, and it wasn't really simulating that you were listening to sound, coming through the speakers about, a prop going, So yeah, whatever. Also worth noting, I'm probably going to slow this down. If we look at our search, it's pretty slow, but I think I'm going to slow it down even more because in multiplayer, I assume that everything's going to slow down. So this pinging will probably slow down. So what I'm going to do is probably slow this down. And of course you have the button that you can loosen up the knob and you can go a little bit faster if you want to get to the other side quickly and then swap back to slow scanning. This should help you find a contact easier when it's slow, because then it has time to find the ping. Okay, next up, this does not have a setting yet because I forgot to hook it up. We have our audio contact within 2.5 kilometers. We have our audio detected. We have our sound level, and I'll show you how that works. Well, actually, I can't show you how that works, but the idea is the closer the contact is, the higher the sound level bar will be. So the buoy is, I don't know, probably less than 1,000 meters maybe, I don't know. So it will be a full bar, but that's the idea here. We have a speaker and a speaker, which I haven't hooked up, just for contact sounds. So I think that's it. Oh, yeah, bearing. I think I already said that. Okay, anyways, that's it. Let's find our contact. So we're going to go ahead and scan to the right, and we're just waiting for any kind of like pop-ups. Okay, that's fake. We're waiting. Okay, look at, there it is. Okay, so you have a clear signal. We're starting to hear our beeps come in. There we go. And this is the signature. Now, if I kind of go back left a bit, you see that we're going to lose the clarity. So that contact is probably over here more when that green light comes on. And as you can see, the sound level is pretty high. So it's close. So if we go back to the right, there it goes. That's clear. And so it's about there, which is at 26 degrees to our right. So now we know exactly where that contact is. And we know that the contact signature is 2 bars and then space bar, space bar. So if we come through here, it is, oh, there it is. It's the first submarine. It's a small one right there. Yeah, that was easy. So yeah, so these bars change depending on the contact's name or type. So if we go through here, you can see, you know, we've got some sub hunters. What is that? A convoy ship. There's a different signature. So this just kind of helps you identify the contact. So in gameplay, I think if we have 2 different submarines, so we have, you know, a small submarine and maybe a medium submarine, we can identify, if you're the ship hunting, we can identify the ship that is, you know, to our right, and there might be a contact over here to our left, and we can see which submarine it is. That applies to the submarine. It knows whether it's pinging if it's underwater like I am. I'm not actually underwater. If the contact is a sub hunter, or if it might be just a convoy ship that we're not scared of. So it lets us know when we're underwater what we're pinging. So I thought that was a nice touch, because I think that to some extent, you know, these guys, these hydrophone guys, could kind of tell if it was a destroyer or if it was a convoy ship by the sounds. But since we don't have custom audio sounds, this lets us kind of figure out what our contacts are. I don't know, thought it was a good idea. But yeah, oh, I forgot to say, okay, there's this other button over here. This is our volume setting. So the volume setting is actually our range setting. So if we go all the way out here, we can hear a contact out to 20 kilometers, I think. And when a contact is out at 20 kilometers, this bar will probably only be the first bar. So what this lets us do is, when we're playing the game, if the contacts are out far, raise our volume all the way up and see if we get a contact. Once we get a contact, based on this bar level, we can start lowering it. And when the contact disappears, we can kind of get a range idea. So each one of these is 2,500 meters. So if you just count them, you can kind of get the range. So that's the idea. But I think I'm going to change this to actually show what this setting is. So it'll say, you know, 17,000, you know, 20,000, whatever, for the setting of this button. I think that's what I'm going to do. Of course, this only goes on when the audio contact is within 2.5 kilometers. And that gives you a good idea of how much in danger you are. Of course, there's a beep again. Is it not flashing? Yeah, there's a flash. So yeah, if we count, let's go ahead and see if we can figure this out. We'll wait till this reaches the top. Okay, and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh boy, it's gonna take forever. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There it goes. Is it gonna make the 15? 15. Okay, so it's going 15 knots. See? I was right. So this kind of gives you a rough idea of where it's going. It's probably going to be off or on depending on like when you start the count or when the beep starts. But yeah, that gives you the speed of the target. I like that. It's kind of a cool feature, I think. I didn't even know they could do that. But yeah. So that is it, really. Still in testing. I'm still kind of cleaning up, you know, some of these graphics down here I don't like. I don't like those white bars, and I don't have that hooked up. And I'm still trying to figure out how I can get these things to stop randomly blinking when it's off. And I just assumed that it's going to be even worse in multiplayer, but I haven't tested it. And then what I'm going to do is I think I will change this number here to show what the loudness of the propellers is doing here. So yeah. Oh, also, I should also note that that the speed of the vessel matters. So if I turn that on and I'm going, 30 knots or whatever it is. Oh, it's loud. Now, my my hydrophone's gonna have trouble. Okay, this is not bad. This is because it's super close. So if this was farther out, oh my gosh, I can't talk with this thing. Quiet. So if this was farther out, this beacon was farther out, and I turned on that engine, because my engine is piped in through the hydrophone as a variable that it uses to determine how far we can listen out, that will cause problems. It happens also that if, as a submarine, if I'm going under 6 knots, I will disappear from the hydrophone. I won't be able to hear it. That's considered silent running. So it works for both the ships and the submarines. If they go slow, they will not be heard on the hydrophone. So I think that's all I want to show with the hydrophone. I probably forgot something, but again, it's a work in progress, and it's not released on the workshop or anything yet. So until we do the event, these are just kind of things I'm working on. I'm working on some other things with some cool developers for the event, and I'll let you know when those are ready to be revealed. But for right now, that's what we're doing with the hydrophone, and maybe we'll do a live event tonight. Who knows? So if any of this is fascinating to you, go ahead and click the notifications button so you get notified when I upload these videos or when we're doing live streams.